Hey everyone. So, if you're a developer, you know the deal. Data structures and algorithms can feel like this massive, intimidating mountain you just have to climb. It's a huge hurdle for so many of us. But today, we're going to map out the best trails to get you to the summit. So grab your gear and let's get climbing.
First things first, if you find this stuff hard, you're not alone. Not even close. Research confirms what instructors have known for years. Learning to program is genuinely tough. This isn't just a feeling you have. It's a real, documented academic challenge. And the data behind it, well, it can look pretty scary, which brings us to the very first obstacle.
And wow, this really drives the point home. Just look at this grade distribution from an intro programming course. See that huge bar way over on the left? That's the students who failed. When you see something like that, it's so easy to start thinking, man, maybe I'm just not cut out for this. And that thought right there is the first real mountain you have to climb, the mindset hurdle.
So here's our game plan for today. First, we're going to tackle the most important part, getting the right mindset for the climb. Then we'll explore 5 completely different trails to the summit. We'll even compare a few popular routes head-to-head. And finally, we'll get into how you can actually make all this knowledge stick.
Okay, before we even look at a map, we got to talk about gear. And on this journey, your most important piece of equipment isn't your keyboard or your computer, it's your mindset. It's what's going to determine how you handle every single steep, tricky part of this climb.
So here's the key idea, and it comes from psychology. It's something called implicit theories, but we can just call them mindsets. These are the deep down, kind of unconscious beliefs we have about what we're capable of. And they act like a filter for everything, shaping how we see every challenge and how we interpret every failure. And this is the critical difference. On one side, you've got the fixed mindset. This voice in your head says, you've either got it or you don't. So challenges are scary, and putting in a lot of effort feels like a sign that you're not smart enough. On the other side, you've got the growth mindset. This one says, my abilities can be developed. Effort is the only way to get better, and challenges are actually exciting. Be honest with yourself. Which one sounds a little more familiar when you hit a tough bug?
And here is where it all clicks into place for coding. The research shows a direct link. Students who really struggle often start to believe in this idea of programming aptitude, that it's some kind of magical talent you're either born with or you're not. And if they're struggling, well, it must mean they don't have it. That one belief is a total progress killer.
All right, so now that our mental gear is sorted, let's pull out the map. We're shifting from the why, the mindset, to the what, the actual strategy. Because there isn't just one way up this mountain. There are at least 5 very different trails, and each one is designed for a different kind of climber. So here they are, our 5 main paths. You've got the scholar, who wants that structured step-by-step curriculum. There's the solver, who learns best by just diving into problems. We have the builder, who needs to make things to understand them. The competitor, who gets a rush from pressure. And finally, the guide, for those who want a clear, pre-made plan to follow. Okay, think of this as our master trail map. It lays out all 5 paths at a glance. You can see what each one's about, how long it might take, and who it's really for. And just look at the differences, right? The solver path is awesome if you're in a 2-month crunch for an interview. But the competitor, that's a serious 6-month-plus commitment to become truly elite. The builder path is perfect if you need to see things in the real world, while the guide is for anyone who just wants someone to tell them what to do next. Seriously, feel free to pause here and just think about which one really speaks to you. Now let's zoom in and compare the 2 trails most people end up on. This is the big one, the classic debate. Should you build that deep theoretical foundation first, or should you just jump into solving problems and learn the theory as you go? The scholar path is all about structure. You know, like a classic university course or one of those massive online courses. The huge pro here is that it's super comprehensive. You're not going to have big gaps in your knowledge. But the downside? Oh, it's real. It can feel slow, and you risk getting trapped in what we call tutorial hell, where you're just watching video after video, but never actually coding enough. On the flip side, you have the solver. This person dives headfirst into the deep end on sites like LeetCode. This is incredibly practical and amazing for learning to spot patterns quickly for interviews. But the danger is you can end up with a kind of Swiss cheese knowledge, lots of holes in your understanding. And for a total beginner, hitting a wall on your 5th problem in a row can be just soul-crushing. Okay, let's look at 2 more specialized paths. The choice here really boils down to what motivates you. Are you the kind of person who's driven by building real, tangible things? Or are you driven by the thrill of pushing your skills to the absolute limit?
The builder learns by making stuff. So instead of an abstract puzzle, you'd maybe build a cool pathfinding visualizer to really get graph algorithms. It's so motivating because it connects theory to practice in a way nothing else can. The trade-off? It takes a lot of time, and it might not prep you for those very specific, kind of weird brain teasers you often find in interviews. Now, the competitor treats this whole thing like a sport. They're on platforms like Codeforces, training with timed contests, trying to get faster and smarter. This approach forges absolutely elite, lightning-fast problem-solving skills. Honestly, most interview questions will feel like a walk in the park after this. But it can be serious overkill. You'll spend a ton of time on super advanced topics that you'll probably never see in a normal job interview.
So, you've picked your trail. Awesome. But it doesn't matter which one you choose if all that hard-won knowledge just leaks out of your brain a week later, right? So the final piece of the puzzle is conditioning, using proven techniques to make sure your knowledge is durable and right there when you need it most.
Okay, these 4 techniques are pure gold. First, spaced repetition. That's your secret weapon against the forgetting curve. Second, active recall. This is where you close the book and try to explain an algorithm out loud to, well, anyone. It's brutally effective at showing you what you think you know versus what you actually know. Third, deliberate practice. This means you have to lean into the stuff you hate, the topics that feel hard. That's where all the growth happens. And finally, chunking, grouping ideas together so you start to see the big picture of how it all connects.
And when it's crunch time for an interview, you have to practice smart, not just hard. First, and this is huge, quality over quantity. It is so much better to deeply understand 50 problems than to just blaze through 150. Next, have a plan. Master one topic at a time, like arrays, then trees, before you start doing mixed, random problems. Third, you've got to simulate the real thing. Use a timer. Talk your solution out loud, even if it feels weird. And finally, get to know your platform. Learn the ins and outs of a site like LeetCode so nothing throws you off on game day.
So, let's bring it all home. Climbing the DSA mountain is a challenge, for sure, but it is not impossible. Your success really boils down to 2 things. First, packing the right gear. That's the growth mindset that knows effort is what creates skill. And second, choosing the right trail for you, the learning strategy that actually fits your style and your goals. So the only question left is, how are you going to reach the summit?